My name is Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. My homework continues. Man, I wish school was like this. I wouldn't have skipped. I never skipped school in high school. Well, that's not true. But man, in college. Um, all right, so Linda from Linda's Fiery Treats. A bunch of you have checked out her YouTube video. She takes you through the garden. It's kind of cool. Go check it out. I've done the Apocalypse Scorpion regular versus the BB bubblegum. Great, that was earlier. I want to apologize. When I thought I uploaded it. I uploaded the Reaper version, the Reaper video. Again, a lot of you guys didn't even notice it. But 80 of you did. And it's weird. It must have been mostly people who didn't see the first one. Yeah, I deleted it because I didn't want to duplicate. But anyway, so the Apocalypse Scorpion I did. Devil's Tongue Red, Bumpy and Smooth is coming up. I probably won't do that today. I'll probably get to that tomorrow. Did the Lemon Spice Jalapeno. Did the Red and Chocolate Nagla Beast. Did the Yellow Reaper. Although I probably won't get a good grade on that homework assignment. Volume was off. What a drag that was, huh? But at least I did it. Mustard Reaper, did it. 7-pot brain strain. That's what we're doing now. You saw that in the title. But what I have left, I only have one left, which is the 7-pot Congo Gigantic Mustard. All right, so look, here's what we got. Please go to my Instagram and see some really cool close-ups of these pods. We have it's interesting. We have these two. We have the red brain and the yellow brain. These are, 7-pot brain strains. All right, so I'll tell you what I anticipate. I cut them open already. Here's the interior of that. If you want a better close-up, please go to my Instagram, like I said. Here's the interior of the yellow. Beautiful. Now, I will tell you this. If you do a side-by-side, what you're going to see is that the wall lining on the red is slightly thinner than the wall lining on the yellow. Do you guys notice that? Do you see how the wall lining here is just a little bit thinner than the wall lining on this one? Something to note. I will also tell you this. The yellow one, the red one has a more... While it has the brain shape, it has a more bumpy appearance. While this doesn't have quite the bumpy appearance, it does have that shape. All right, so we're going to do the red one first. Let me tell you what I think is going to happen. I think the red is going to taste like a red, like a typical red pod. I think that the yellow pod is going to have those citrus notes. I'm going to cut. Did you see how there's a little bit of black on the where the stem was? I'm going to cut that out. This is what I opted not to eat. See a little dark piece? Doing the same thing on this other side. And here's the other piece. That was just where the stem was connected. You get a little bit more there. All right. So you can see what I've removed. I had to remove a little bit where that black mold was. And here are the two pieces that I removed. And you can see there's... All right, so I'm avoiding that. I'm going to eat the red one first. And the yellow one, I think, is just going to be more... the yellow one's going to be more citrusy. But here we go. 7-pot brain strain red. Linda McNew, Linda's Fiery Treats. I'm Johnny Scoville. Nailing the homework. This is JC. Good crunch to it. I was worried when I saw a little bit of black by the stem that maybe it was getting soft, but didn't feel it. Not at all. Good crunch. It's hot. Has that red super hot pod taste. A little bit of bitterness on the finish. that I didn't get in the beginning. And oddly enough, the bitterness now, that was strange. Wow. Here's what usually happens with me. When you eat a pod that has a flavor, regardless of the flavor, whether it's floral, whether it's sweet, whether it doesn't matter what the flavor is, whether it's earthy, after you chew it up and swallow it, those flavors dissipate and you're just left with a little bit of pepper flavor and heat. It's true. What just happened with this was I didn't really detect any bitterness in the beginning. But then you know what's great about this homework assignment? I don't have to write it down. I was thinking about it. I hadn't really written it down. I'm not gonna. She can watch the video. I didn't detect the bitterness when I first chewed the pepper up, but I detected the bitterness after. And instead of fading away, that bitterness climbed really hard for a second and then faded away. I don't think I can ever remember that happening. I've eaten a few peppers. All right. The burn is in my, it's a throat burn. Not so much in my mouth, but in my throat. The heat on this would be mind you, my tolerance is climbing, so my scale doesn't really matter. This would probably be a 7 or an 8 for a chili head. Going to be substantially higher if you're not. Started earlier talking about a story about my son, Grateful Dead story. I want to tell you that really quick. It's a great story. Here's the lemon. By the way, I smelled it, and it smelled very citrusy. This is sweet, very fruity, juicy, the better tasting of the two pods. I'm kind of partial to yellow, but that's the way it is. I think most people would find the yellow one tasting better. It's citrusy, it was sweeter. Especially when you're a new chili head, you look for flavors that you can latch onto that you like. That's one. Really tasted good. Much prefer the yellow. Okay, this is a little surprising. I think the yellow one was a little hotter. That's kind of weird because when you get pods of the same, I doubt they didn't come from the same plant, I don't think. Although they could have if she had crossed them, but I doubt that's what happened here. But usually if you have a bunch of pods, let's say I have a bunch of grain strains, and I have a red, a chocolate, a yellow, a mustard. They have a white grain strain? I don't think they have one yet. But let's say I had those. Typically, the red's going to be hotter. The red and the chocolate will sometimes interchange or flip-flop. But then you got the yellow further down the line. That yellow, I think, was a little hotter than the red one. Wonderful flavor. Quick story about the Grateful Dead. I was a Deadhead when I was young. Me and Tommy we liked the Dead. All right, so my oldest son was born. He had colic. If you're not a parent, colic, they think it's because they didn't think I had enough surfactant in his lungs. He was premature. And they think that the stomach hasn't quite fully developed yet. That's what they think it is. I'm not quite sure what it is, but at any rate, there's no really helping a kid with colic. He screamed. He was little, and he would scream till he was like purple. Like he would pull his knees up and scream like he was in agony. And as a parent, it's like being strapped in a chair watching the thing you love the most being tortured. That's what it feels like. There's nothing you can do to stop it. I put him in his little car chair, and I put it on the washing machine because someone told me that would help, and I did nothing. And I put him on put him in the back of the car. I lived in North Texas at the time. Drove around dirt roads, bumpy roads, thinking that would kind of soothe him because someone told me that would help. Nothing. And my kid's mom, it was tough on her. I was working all day, and I'd come home and she was just done. She'd hand me the baby and she goes, "I'm going to the room. I'm shutting the door. Give me a break." So I'd have them. I remember just being, I didn't know what to do. I'd cry. I remember just crying because there was nothing I could do. And one day, I swear to you, it's a true story. One day, I was listening to the Grateful Dead, and I can't remember what album it's on. I don't remember what the album's on. First of all, the Dead is terrible in studio. You need to know that. They're horrible. Live, they were very special. Very, very special. So I don't remember what album this was, but it was from a live show, and they were singing a song called We Bid You Goodnight. It's a beautiful little song. It's a beautiful song. It's like a kid's nursery rhyme. And I put it on. I was frazzled. I had hair then. Getting ready to pull it out. I put on that song, and my son, it took me a second or two to notice it. He stopped crying. I didn't have the music loud, but like to drown him out or anything, but loud enough that he could hear it. And he stopped crying. And I looked over at him. And the song is very short. And when the song ended, he started crying. I was like, nah. So I put the song on again, put it a little bit louder. He stopped crying. I swear it's a true story. So I put it on repeat, and I listened to that song for 4 hours. Over and over again. He stopped crying. He didn't cry when that song was out. Next day, did it again. We listened to that song 5,000 times, I'm sure. Every time she would shut the door, I'd turn that song on and put it on repeat. Just sit there and kind of noodle around or do whatever I had to do and with background music, but it soothed him. Fast forward about 17 years or so. 17 years. I had the kids. We were no longer married. My week with the kids, they're with me. And it's amazing. This is such. I wish I had it on video. It was so cool. They were in the living room watching TV. Maybe he was 16, and I hadn't listened to that song since the last time, since he had colic. So I put the CD in. I queued up that song, and I was behind them watching them. He was kind of watching TV, and I turned it on, and the song started, and he went. He just sat up and he went. I didn't say a word. I got goosebumps everywhere. He stopped and sat up and he turned around and looked at me. He goes, "What's that song?" I said, "You know this song, don't you?" He goes, "Yeah, why?" I told him the story. True story, though. So my son, Johnny Jr. is not a deadhead, but boy, his oldest brother, the dead saved me and him. That's a pretty true story. Go listen to that song. I don't know what album it's on. We Bid You Goodnight. It's beautiful. Anyway, that's my Dead story. The Heat, the second, but with both of them, the Heat, this much hotter, I think the other one was. So there, you know. Anyhow, very, very tasty. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for listening to my story about my son and the Grateful Dead. In the description box, you're going to see a link for Linda's Fiery Treats. Tell her I sent you. Almost done all my homework, Linda. All I've got left are the 7-pot gigantic mustard. I promise I'll do it tomorrow. Right there's the pepper. Click that pepper. We're riding together. I'm just the driver, you guys. If you don't want to miss a video because spicy content's your thing, then click the bell for notification. A Dropbox is going to happen. Select all. But visit us daily because, man, they're shoddy with their, with their notifications. Legal fire. Wherever it is. I love you guys. I'm Johnny Scoville. This was Chase Thee.